Hello and welcome to Illumination Podcast with Nick and Kisma. I'm Kisma, and today's episode is all about how to find your life purpose. Hello and welcome to Illumination Podcast with Nick and Kisma, bringing you ancient wisdom for modern day success so that you can have the mindset to get your life and business set.
As always, thank you for tuning in. And if you're new to the podcast, take a quick second to hit the subscribe button in iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. If you want to get the inside info for this and every episode, as well as some free gifts, go to illuminationacademy.net/podcasts. And now let's dive in to get your mindset for your life and business set.
Well, hello there, Nick.
Hello there, Kisma.
What's going on in your life purpose?
What's going on in my life purpose? Nothing like a nice, light, easy topic for the show. That's something small, something
it's just
manageable.
a little tidbit of what's my life purpose. But we were chatting about this because we get this question a lot with people who show up either in our trainings or as clients or students. Like, I'm just not sure of my life purpose.
It's actually kind of a big thing. And you hit a certain point in life and it's like, wait, like, what am I doing?
Is this all there is? Yeah. Is there nothing else? And I think as our world is getting busier and busier and there's more electronics and there's more noise, we kind of lose that core essence of why the heck am I here?
Yeah. And I think this is an important time of year, particularly to be thinking about it. You know, if you're going back in the archives, it may be a different time of year, but right now, as we record this, it's in December. We're wrapping up 2018.
Oh my gosh.
And it's an important time to consider as you reflect on the year gone by, like, what did I do? And what did it mean? You know, so is there a purpose to it? Is there an intention behind this? And are you staying true to that? Those are all really valuable questions to be asking. Not, I don't think from like the shameful point of view of like, what am I doing with my life? But more from the perspective.
Usually doesn't work well.
But more from the perspective of assessment.
Yeah.
You know, clear assessment. So I do think it's important. And this is another one that I feel like so many things is something that you have to continue to say yes to. So it's not just a one-time like, oh yeah, I got that, check it off the list.
Right.
It's something that is a conversation that really unfolds and something that we continue to opt in for in our everyday life.
Right. Instead of checking out.
Yeah. Instead of checking out of it, which is super easy to do.
It's true. It's kind of like, it's who we're being. It's what we're thinking. It's what we're saying. It's the whole shebang of the human is really our life purpose. I like it. What's your life purpose?
My life purpose is in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Then it's building a mystery school.
Oh, Nick's building a mystery school.
That's it.
It's pretty true with Energy Mastery. It's a mystery school.
It's a mystery school. That's what it really is. The modality, you know, there's healing tools and techniques that are that are a part of that, that are really important. But ultimately, it's a mystery school. It's a place to connect with the highest mysteries of life and to not just connect with those in an esoteric way, but to truly embody that in your life. You know, your work is totally in line with that.
Of course.
You're not just about the esoteric teachings. I know that you geek out on those things, but it's really about embodying that in life.
It is.
What about
really
you?
is.
What's your purpose?
Yeah, I like to say that life purpose might actually change. Well, let's just go the absolute. The life purpose is to realize the self. And that might be a lot of lives. It might be a lot of stepping back on the planet to realize the self. But I just look at we're here to realize the highest version of us. So with different experiences and lifetimes, I think we carry these different life purposes. And I do think they can change as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. You know, I think about it. It's interesting. I am actually thinking about it slightly differently these days in that the perfection of self is kind of a foregone conclusion. So that's just something that I do in everything that I do and pursue.
Wait, are you saying you're perfect?
No. That is not what I'm saying.
Newsflash, everyone. Nick is perfect. Perfection. He is perfect.
Well, I had a conversation with a client about this recently, as a matter of fact. the whole perfectionism thing and getting caught up in that. And he's like, that's just futile. You know, it's just it's so oppressive. What I thought was really interesting was for him, it was a huge weight off his shoulders and a major shift in perspective is that you're already perfect. So there's a dichotomy. There's an inherent dichotomy in that you're already perfect.
Right. And we are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what the ultimate life tool shows us.
Right.
Your innate perfection.
Right.
And that's one of the things I love about it is not looking for everything that's wrong with you. It's looking for all the beautiful and amazing things about you to really make the machine hum and make it work in your life. So you're innately perfect. And at the same time, we've done all of our human things to deny that perfection. Mm-hmm. So the enlightened state, quote unquote, enlightened state is really just a returning home to that perfection, which was there all along. You know, there's this constant dichotomy of moving towards that and also accepting and allowing what is perfect right here, right now.
Yeah.
So when I think about purpose, I'm looking at, I'm not saying that like yours is wrong.
Well, thank you very much.
I'm not
so exciting. My purpose, life purpose of being self-realized is not wrong.
Super clear in that. I wanted to make sure that I'm not disagreeing with you. I think I understand. I think that's beautiful. How I was thinking about it was like, okay, well, in the context of this life, like what am I here to do this time around?
And you're here to build a mystery school.
I'm here to build a mystery school. Yeah. But I do take that idea of perfecting self into everything that I do. So I kind of treating it as a foregone conclusion. Like, yeah, of course I'm going to do that, whether I'm playing mini golf or, building a mystery school.
I like that. I would say my life purpose right now is it's helping people create prosperity in all ways. You know, just understanding those spiritual laws, working with the law, understanding that, again, that perfection in us allows us to attract perfection in our world.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be so heavy and stressful and dramatic.
It's super hard.
Yeah. It does not have to be hard. There's so much joy and so much prosperity to have. It's shockingly right, as the amazing Catherine Ponder said. So that's my life purpose. I can't guarantee it's going to stay there. I think the overall essence for me is to reach my highest and best and to help other people do that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And right now it's taking the form of prosperity. Well, we wanted to, we were coming up with a couple of steps, like how do you find your life purpose? For those of you listening, you're like, you guys are weirdos doing this mystery school and like, what the heck is that? What's my life purpose? And I think, to kick it off, one of the things I was thinking is it's so much easier when you're receptive to the fact that you have a higher self.
Yeah.
And that higher self is you. It's the best version, the higher version. It's a higher iteration of you and a higher dimension. And when you just simply kind of go, okay, well, I have a higher self, there's an immediate shift. It's like you kind of lean into this caregiver, this essence that allows you to elevate. And to me, that's step one.
That can be your purpose to start.
Exactly. Just connect with that higher self.
Connect with that. I'm going to embody that 1% more.
Right. Or 2 or 5 or more.
Or 2 or 5. Yeah. Whatever that is, every little bit towards that is actually a really, really big deal.
I call it the Mr. Rogers syndrome. He was like, the guy might have been enlightened. Who knows?
I think he might have been.
I think he fooled us all, that little train. Like we were like, what? I think he talk about someone who embodies his higher self.
Yeah.
He really did. So it's just kind of like, all right, Mr. Rogers could be putting on sweaters, tennis shoes, and he is connected with his higher self. And in that moment, that was his life purpose.
Yeah.
And bringing a smile to some child's face.
And the way that he connected with the kids on the show.
Yeah.
It was like he never related to them as anything less than their higher selves.
Exactly.
And that to me, that's a real teacher.
Yeah, for sure.
It's easy to slip into the things that we don't like about people or what's wrong with them or how they could be better. But it's a whole other game to hold the space for them to step into that and to only see and relate to them based on that highest version of themselves.
Right.
There's something really magical about being in a presence like that. I wish I could have got to meet Mr. Rogers.
That would have been cool.
That would have been super cool.
You're building a mystery school. You can call him in.
Good point. Maybe he's hanging out at the center and I don't even know it.
You don't know. Dude, So be receptive to your higher self. Start there. It just feels good. And there's like a connection to just a higher dimension. And then be receptive, guys, that your life purpose might not be this huge thing of like standing on stages in front of thousands like Tony Robbins or Lewis Howes or whoever those people are. Like just that might not be your life purpose. And guess what? It's okay. Because it's like that teaching the spoke in the wheel. All the spokes in the wheel mean something. Mm-hmm. Everybody is playing a role. And so your life purpose might be, I don't know, maybe you're a teacher and that's an incredible life purpose. Your life purpose is to bring education to children. Like that's incredible. Maybe your life purpose is just to be a better person every day. Like it doesn't have to be huge, and it can be huge.
It can be. I think there's value in stretching it.
There is value in stretching it. I'll give you that.
A little bit, it lets your energy really expand into something greater so that you will be more resourceful. Mm-hmm. And I think there's value in that. But you bring up a super good point in that sometimes, especially in the personal growth industry, they're always like, go bigger, go bigger, go bigger, dream bigger. And what happens then is people wind up addicted to the dream and the idea of it, and they have no resources or really ability to get from where they are to where where that dream is. And I'm not saying the dream is wrong. What I'm saying is there could be a decade's worth of growth and development and expansion in between where you are and there. And if you're only living 10 years in the future, you're going to be missing out on a lot that's going on here. That's not relevant for you. So it brings me back to something that you said that I thought was really beautiful in that how you're modeling it is that right now you're focused on helping people bring more prosperity into their lives, teaching them the tools and the energetics and the mindset and so much more in how to do that. And you said, and it might not be the forever thing. So you're stepping into what is really present for you right now, what's really relevant and really true, and allowing space for that to expand and grow. Personally, I think that's you're modeling it really beautifully. And it's a really important thing for people so that they don't have to get stuck, in this huge big thing and get swallowed up by it. You get to start right where you are because right now is perfect.
And when you connect with your higher self, you get guidance. You really get direction. There are things that open up or appear. You're like, looks like I'm supposed to go that direction. Or you're there for a while, like maybe I'm to go there. When you're really, when you get tapped in, you're connected, those answers come.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the point 3, which is stop fighting with yourself.
Stop fighting with yourself.
Because when we fight with ourselves and we resist, like if you have something that's showing up, you're like, I really want to do this. I feel the calling to do this. Don't fight it. And don't resist it. Go find a way to do it. You don't have to, leave your family, your town, your job, all of that. There is a way to start.
I must have been in my 20s, and I lived in Ferndale, super fun little town in Michigan. Really cool town. I loved living there. We were hanging out at night. What was cool about it is that it was close enough, which is kind of in Michigan, in many of the suburbs, you can't just usually walk anywhere. Right. Where we lived, we could walk into town. We could have a really good time. So we're hanging around town. I'm fairly intoxicated at the time, and I'm hanging out with some friends.
Way to go, higher self.
Right. But all these things. Oh, but wait, something came through me where I was like, I want to be a minister. Like, I want to do
you got the calling.
Something, like I was like, I don't know, like the spirit, expressing through me or whatever. Like it took me over and I was like, I'm going to do this. Right. But it was something that stuck with, like, here I am, 20 years later. And I'm remembering when this happened and I was drunk ish and
just staring at
and all my friends are looking at me like, yeah, dude, whatever, but it stuck with me. And it was something like that. I knew, on a certain level, like maybe the alcohol just gave me a chance at that young age to get out of my head enough to actually say a yes to that. But whatever the case, I knew. I knew it was something in this realm, and it was loud enough that it stuck with me for a really long time. And I fought the heck out of that when I sobered up.
Interesting.
I was like, that's ridiculous.
I'm not going to do it.
I'm not going to do it. You know, how would I even do that? What am I going to do?
The how word, stay out of the how.
Right. Am I going to go join the clergy? Like, how does that look? You know, do I need to go to like seminary? Like, what am I doing? You know, I don't want to be celibate. That's for sure. So, you know, there's all these different things that started to come up in my head that was like, you can't possibly follow that. Like, that's ridiculous. But there was a higher level to me that was like, yeah, that's it, you know? And sure. And I fought it, kicking and screaming, you know, at a lot of times and trying to sabotage it in different ways. But it was shortly after that, you know, that I really started on the path of personal growth in a much more significant way.
Yeah. I became a yoga teacher and all of that. Yeah.
And that was my bridge.
Yeah. That was a bridge. So that's pretty cool.
I knew that my purpose wasn't to be a yoga teacher. Like I knew that pretty quickly out. I was like, yeah, this is fun, but this is not really what I'm here to do. But it led me to the next step and the next step and the next step. If I hadn't been a yoga teacher, we would never be here right now.
We would not. No, we would not. That's pretty cool. So I think this is good information for those listening. The life purpose often comes in that little pathway, you know, brick by brick, and don't fight it. You know, like trust that next step, because I think sometimes, like I'm saying here, is like right now, this is my life purpose. I help people create more prosperity. I don't really know where this is going to go. You know, in 5 years, it could be I help people go visit an ashram in India, or maybe I start my own ashram. That word keeps downloading. Like, we just don't know. But stay on the path.
Yeah.
And I think the cool thing is, again, back to like the front of the podcast, it's often who we're being and that walk that we walk.
Yeah.
You know, the talk that we talk, that willingness to not resist, to not fight it, and to keep moving forward in our highest and best.
True. You bring up an interesting point though, where it's like, I don't want to leave the idea that if you're searching for something, like you just go in a million different directions and get the bright, shiny object thing. You know,
I did not say that.
No, I know you didn't, but if you listen to it in a certain way, like there's something there, you know, like I don't want people to get the wrong idea. That's not what you're saying. I know that's not what you're saying. There is that aspect that you stay true to.
Well, you face forward.
Yeah. Face forward and really stay true to that highest mission. Because otherwise you'll wind up just bailing every time it gets difficult.
That's true. You can try something. Oh, it's not right. Oh, it's not right. And quit. It's a facing true north, and definitely the walk demands resiliency. You know, there's a lot of obstacles that show up in life, and it's our perception of it that will determine if they're going to hold us up or we're just going to move on through. And I know that when we're on that path, it's Ganesha comes and those obstacles dissolve.
Well, maybe this is something that you could talk about then, the difference between like having the feeling and having the knowing that, you know, this is my next step, because the feelings that come up around those next steps are often not always the most pleasant things.
We were talking about this on a training call tonight. It's that upper limiter thing that we've talked about from Gay Hendricks' book, The Big Leap, and just shows up in so many spiritual teachings. Yeah, when you're facing a greater version of yourself, and when you're facing that promised land, they can get scary, and there can be obstacles, or we'll create them in our mind because we're not always used to stepping into the highest and best. That's why step one, recognize you have a higher self. If you recognize, you connect, everything else is easier. If you don't do that, the obstacles will feel bigger and bigger, and you might stop. So I think that's essential, and to just be like, okay, what's the lesson? Like, what's the lesson in every obstacle? There's some amazing teaching or lesson or a way to build the muscle, the resiliency, or deeper connection. We must be receptive to that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really important. And there is that really beautiful kind of both sides, the dichotomy of staying firm and true to the path, and also having the openness and the availability, the receptivity to let things show up for you and to explore some unexpected pathways.
Right. Right,
interesting.
exactly.
I can't say that I know that there's a perfect formula for that, but I do know that you need both of those things because it's just too easy to quit when things don't feel good and go to the next thing that feels good for a minute and then the next thing that feels good for a minute. But at the same time, is like if you stay too rigid to the path and this is what it is and this is how it's going to be, well, that's just going to be really, really heavy. And it could easily take you 10 times as long if you ever get there. And
exactly.
And something's going to break along the way.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, that's an important part.
Yeah. So stay the path, be willing to see the lessons and the challenges and step in. I think that was our final piece is like those elements that are right in front of you. Not only do you stop fighting them and stop resisting, step in, like really have that physical sense, emotional sense, mental, spiritual, energetic of stepping into this role.
Yeah.
And I know that it allows an embodiment, allows faster manifestation, and you just align with that purpose rather than keep seeking it.
Yeah. I'd like to talk about that for a minute of what it means to step in.
Oh, what do you think it means?
Well, I think a lot of times there's a misunderstanding that if you say a mental yes, that's enough. Where it's like, okay, yeah, that's it. I'm going to do that. Yeah. And then you don't.
Yeah,
right?
that's not stepping in.
It spins off, right? So
that's cute.
It's cute, right?
It's cute. Yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm excited. That is not stepping in.
And so it's looking for where is the full step in? Like where do people often quit? Right? Because it's easy. It can be easy to quit in the busy modern world of distractification to quit on some of those things. So, okay, you definitely can't quit after you have the thought and you're like, yay. Sometimes people take a step in and then they're like, they dip their toe in and then it's like, okay, I've taken an action. That's good for now. And then it's off. I don't know if I'd call that really stepping in.
That's clearly not stepping in.
Yeah, I'm not sure that, so I think it's looking for that full commitment. Like it's a full in.
It's an embodiment.
Yeah.
It's the difference between chasing and embodying that, like right there in front of you. What is it? And then the willingness to know there's going to be a something right there in front of you and continuing to step in.
Yeah. And there's going to be something after that.
Yeah.
And a something after that. But what I have noticed, it's so cool that you brought up the stepping in thing is like, there's always a cost to not doing it.
Oh, painful cost.
Painful
really,
cost.
really painful.
I want to share an example. There was a person who was circling around the energy mastery realms in particular. And when I first connected with this person, like that was exactly what she wanted. She's like, I want to do this. This is it. This is the thing. And she didn't. There was too busy with this. There was something else going on with that. No, it doesn't seem the time is right. I'm not sure about the money. I don't know. Well, what happened in the meantime, while she's waffling about this in and out, is her business depleted in half. Many things in her life started to spin out. And she's just grasping and trying to find her way back to that yes. When it was there, it was available, it was ready to go. When it at that first moment, she knew, and then back down.
Yeah.
And I was looking at adding it up and I think probably conservatively, I would say it costs $250,000.
It's expensive.
If not $500,000.
Expensive.
If not more.
Yeah.
To not step in.
Yeah. And that's just monetarily. Never mind what happens to the body and the emotional center and the soul was like, come on. Like, and I think we know it. That's when we know. It's like oftentimes we're like, well, this feeling, what are you not listening to?
Yeah.
What are you not seeing? What are you making so hard?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. So, for those of you listening, first step, connect to your higher self. Be receptive that you have a version of you that we just call your higher self and start talking if you don't already. And be receptive that your life purpose may not be big. It might be small. It might be your next brilliant day. It doesn't have to be what everybody else's is. And avoid fighting yourself.
Yeah.
Avoid resisting it. It is not fun. You'll probably drink too many martinis or a bunch of chocolate cake. Do not resist and step in, like really joyfully step in. And I think that's the piece is like when we know we're facing forward, when we know we're going deep, we can step in with joy and know that the universe really is there to support us. God, source, spirit, whatever your word is, there is support.
Yeah. The path always reveals.
Yeah.
It always,
so cool.
So the next step always shows up. I think that's the coolest thing. And it usually happens way, way faster than we would ever expect. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
As that starts to unfold. I just think it's awesome. I feel like this is one of the most important conversations, an important piece of what we both do, because, just think about your life and what it is to really have a true purpose and intention behind everything that you do.
It makes it so much nicer.
It does in so many ways.
For sure. And you get to help people.
You get to make an impact in the world. I haven't talked to too many people that don't want to do that.
Right.
In some way.
If you want a bit more help and want to know a little bit more about you, like what your features are, your talents, what motivates you. Some of you have already done the Ultimate Life Tool with myself or Nick. It's an amazing assessment tool that goes above and beyond any of the others are great, but this is so in depth. And we'll have a link to purchase that assessment in our show notes, which is illuminationacademy.net/INK138. illuminationacademy.net/INK138.
That's where you'll find it. I love the Ultimate Life Tool.
It's really great.
It basically, it puts it in context of your life. So maybe you've been having some thoughts. Maybe you already know, you already know the thing. Maybe you're not fully owning it, but it's back there and you haven't come out, you haven't like come out of the closet with your thing, with your life purpose or whatever that is. Kind of a funny idea. Like a lot of people hide out with that stuff. But regardless, it's like, okay, that's kind of hanging around back there, but you're like, how the heck does this fit in my life? Well, the Ultimate Life Tool can actually show you that, because it'll show you kind of what kind of container that you have to work with to bring that into being. And it'll also show you the sorts of things that you need to do to keep yourself really well fed on that path.
Right.
Because you need the fuel and you need the resiliency in order to really step into that and sustain it, and then, it also shows you some really, really cool things about how you relate to other people in your life, and situations.
Yeah.
Which is important because you're going to need help.
For sure.
You always need help. And also just really and truly what that energy pool is that you have to work with.
Right.
So that you know how to manage it in the most efficient and effective way possible.
I love it.
I mean, all of that. And there's really a lot more to it than that even. So it's a super amazing tool. And if you're curious about, what your life purpose is, or maybe what it is and you're getting ready to step into it, this is the roadmap.
Yeah.
So it's like your owner's manual to say, here you go. And then we'll have a conversation. One of us will have a conversation with you about how to bring that into being.
Yeah. Love it. So check it out in the show notes. And if you have any insights about your life purpose and you just want to email us, man, we'd love to hear from you. info@sourcemovement.com.
Namaste.
Peace. Hey, thanks for jamming with us today. And if you enjoy Illumination Podcast, please go ahead and share it with someone you love. Give us a rating, review, download our podcast. And remember, you can find us at illuminationacademy.net/podcasts. Talk to you soon. Namaste.